usual, since I have the camera rolling, I might as well create another video. In a previous video, I was talking about how I make money, and I mentioned licensing. And licensing is a new thing for me, and it's also has a lot of different categories and different situations, and it can be quite confusing. And I have done tons and tons of research on it, and today I thought I would share some simplified, basic information about licensing your work. As a freelance illustrator, there are many routes that you can take, such that you might have learned in the way I make money. You can have a web shop, you can work for freelance for different companies creating custom illustrations, and you can also license your work. So what is that? Essentially, the basic licensing contract is you are renting a specific artwork for a company to use for a specified amount of time. This could be 1 year up to 5 years. That's usually the norm. And the norm is usually you get paid by royalties. And this can also be between 2% to 10%, but it's usually somewhere in the middle, around 5-6%. That's an industry standard. And who do you license your work to? Can be to anyone, but it's usually companies like greeting card companies or Target, Walmart, stuff like that. And also, of course, smaller companies. Yeah, so licensing, you can license your work by royalties, but there's also, you can have a flat fee contract. In your contract, you can state, if the company kind of knows how many items they will sell and stuff like that, how much they will print, then they can offer you a flat fee. You don't have to worry about royalties, and you get paid, I don't know, $500, $1,000, $5,000, who knows? Depends on the company, obviously. Sometimes I've heard that it's not very common anymore, but you can receive in advance and then royalties. Maybe you get $500 in advance and then you get 5% royalties after that. But what's cool about licensing is that you can license a certain artwork to different companies as long as the companies don't overlap their industries. So you can license the same pattern or illustration to a greeting card company, and then the same one to a wallpaper or a gift wrap company, just as long as the companies in your contract has to be stated that they don't overlap. You can also maybe different countries, so you can sell the same artwork to a greeting card company that only deals with North America, and you can sell the same thing to Asia and a different company like that. So you have the ability to make money from different companies on the same artwork, and then you can sell different artworks to different companies and all that stuff. So that's what I'm currently trying to get into. I want to be able to draw tons of items, have a portfolio full of work that companies can sort through and choose things. Again, licensing also means that your name is still attached to the artworks. They do not have the copyright. They have just the rights to use it for this specific amount of time that's in your contract and for the purpose that is written on your contract, such as to print on wallpaper or greeting cards, etc. for 3 years. After 3 years, you get the artwork back, not physically, but they're not allowed to use it anymore, obviously. And then you're able to sell it again to another company, etc., etc. Another way that people license their work is not by licensing, but just completely selling the artwork outright, or total buyout, it's also called. And this way, you create work that will not have your name attached to it, you will be giving the copyright away. So these are things that you shouldn't use your signature style. These shouldn't be things that you're completely in love with. It should be something that maybe not as recognizable as your artwork, because you will be selling the copyright with it. So there have been situations, it's not very common, but that you sell something that's in your signature style, the company buys it, they can then sue you for using similar style on other sales, which is insane, but it's something to think about. So if you do sell something outright, it should be something that's pretty simple, plain, something that you're not like, that's definitely created by Kristina Illustration. So I definitely don't sell outright anything that has my like high heel lipstick kind of prints, because I think those are very recognizable as my thing. In the realm of selling outright, you can also do category buyouts, where you sell the copyright to a certain country, continent, industry. So then you could sell the same thing to a wallpaper company outright and to a greeting card company outright. And as long as your contracts state this perfectly, you shouldn't have any problems, and you can sell outright to 2 different companies. Selling outright, obviously, you make the most money, and then right away. You draw something, you put it in your portfolio, send your portfolio out, the company buys it. You get, it could be anywhere from $500 up to $2,000 or more or less, depends on what it is. It's very difficult from situation to situation, from different, then that company to another company, and how complicated the work is. You could do a simple polka dot or an insane floral, So those are simply the different kinds of deals that you can have. You can license your work with royalties. You can have a flat fee license. You can have an advance with royalties. You can buy outright, or you can sell outright. So those are the simple 4 ways that you can sell your artworks. Now, how do you sell these? There are 3 ways that I can think of. You can use an agent, a licensing agent. You can go yourself to licensing trade shows, and you can also hustle with emailing different companies by yourself, sending out your portfolio. Currently, my art collective / design studio, Swedish Creatures, we are a licensing group, we can call it. We are doing all 3. We have shown our work at Certex, which is a huge American licensing trade show. There's also a few others called Field Trip, what's it called? Blueprint, Premier Vision, Print Source, Top Drawer in UK. So there are different kinds of trade shows like this. NY Now is another one. What else? GiftX, I think there's one called. Anyways, there's tons of different trade shows that you can go to. You get a little booth and you just show your artwork, and companies look at your portfolio and they might buy outright or license right there at the show, or for the most part, it's the emailing afterwards that's the most important. You can also use an agent. As a group, Swedish Creatures has an agent in South Korea, and they deal with the Asian market besides Japan, and they do the work for us in Asia, which is a market that might be difficult for us to reach because of language barriers and stuff like that. So they're going to show our work in the same way. They just have prints of our designs that they will show to companies at industry trade shows for licensing artwork. And we've only just started with that, so I can't really say how it's going or how our advice, but we think it's worth it. Of course, they take in a commission, so you don't make as much money, but it's also, if we wouldn't sell or find it difficult to sell our work to Asia or different markets like that, it's much easier to have an agent. They do all the work for you, and then we'll get paid afterwards when they sell the work. So I think it's quite exciting to see what's going to happen if our work does well in the Asian market. And then the 3rd way, of course, is the hard old-fashioned way, and that's hustling with emailing yourself. We have compiled tons of contacts. We both reached out to them before Certex, in companies that we were just researching online, and you just Google and continue on that way, and finding different art directors to different companies and stuff like that. Art buyers, different companies like that you can contact, and then art And then also at Certex we made tons of contacts there directly with them, so we got their email exactly to the person that we should be contacting. Otherwise it's pretty difficult. You have to do quite a lot of research. Who is the person that you should be contacting? We called people, we emailed like crazy, we did LinkedIn stalking, you know, all kinds of stuff like that. And then you just have to email constantly, not too much, obviously you don't want to be annoying, but every month you should send out your portfolio or new work. We have a newsletter that we're starting to send out, that we will periodically send out all of our new work so that people something might catch their eye and they'll want to buy it or license on their products. So that's a little short introduction into licensing your work. I hope that it was informative and it taught you something. Maybe you didn't know. I didn't know about licensing really until last year when it started to spark my attention, and that's what I've been really putting most of my heart and hard work into, because I think it would be exciting. I can't wait to see my illustrations and patterns on lots of different products. Please let me know in the comment section below if you have any more questions about licensing. I'd be happy to answer them for you, and if I can. Let me know if you have any other suggestions for videos that you would like me to cover, or if you would like me to elaborate on anything. Other than that, thanks so much for watching.